Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. And my name is Balram Prasad, and I'm working with Microsoft as senior software engineer. And today we are going to talk about Azure Data Factory and what is Azure Data Factory, why we should use it, why we should learn it, and then we will go with some PPT, and then we will go with demo. So and I will finish PPT as soon as possible so that we can go and see that how it look like. Okay. So this is our agenda which we talked, right? That what is Azure Data Factory and why we should learn it. Then we will go with some intro about that one. What are the different component into Azure Data Factory? And then we will create a data factory in using Azure portal. And then we will create a pipeline. And basically in pipeline, we will try to uh, pull some data from Azure SQL and push into uh, storage. That will be basic scenario which we are going to do, and what are the different triggers over there, and monitoring how we can do that one. So we will see this one, right? So why to learn Azure Data Factory? So nowadays, if you see that lot of company, even a startup enterprise, they have to analyze the data, right? For analyzing purpose and improving their product with that whatever user is doing, what feature user is using, all this, they have to pull all the data from different sources, right? Some source might be that whatever people are ordering the system, some sources might be which page they are clicking, and these sources they have to bring all sources to one place and orchestrate how much time this is going to take, what is the different sources, and bring in single place where they can analyze this data. And then whatever analysis they are going to do, they are going to once again that output will have they have to push to some destination system, right? And all this should be some time based trigger or some different based trigger. So how to orchestrate, right? Which activity will run first, which activity will run second, how they can scale, right? How we can scale this kind of scenario, right? If we are building some system, then there are nowadays we are talking, when we are talk that cloud, we have still some system which is on prem, right? On premises system, how we can connect with cloud and on premises system both at a single place, right? All this we can do. And how we can write very less code for that one. So do data factory is a kind of tools where we can go and we can drag drop, and it is kind of that one. We can have the JSON for all this definition purpose, but basically that we can do as a UI also. So if you see that the data factory is a Microsoft Azure platform is a service offering. It is fully pass offering. It runs in cloud, but it also has a connectivity feature which we can connect with on-premises network or SQL Server, and other servers are hosted into Azure, on-prem that we have. And if you have worked previously or uh, heard about that, there was a tool called SSIS, right? SQL Server Integration Services, which was similarly kind of doing the same thing, where we used to write that logical thing, that how to pull this data, how to massage the data, how to transform the data, and then put into some SQL table or somewhere to, so that we can connect with Power BI and build the report and other things, right? So this is what we are going to do today, and this is what Azure Factory is, that one. But it is based on cloud, right? It has inbuilt power up scale and other things. So if you see this one, this is the same thing which I am talking about, that this is cloud based data integration services, right? That orchestrate data and movement and transformation. You can move the data from one place to another place. In between you can write transformation logic, you can write machine learning models also, you can run on that one. And it supports a lot of different data sources, more than 100 sources, and it can connect. And also it can connect to computing resources. You can have logic running on the Databricks, Spark, or other compute resources in between, so that you can run a lot of things between that one, right? And what is the problem it is solving? If you see that another is page, so that side, that it is solving the diverse data sources we talked about, that right, stored data in different format. It in different format can be that some data is coming to logs, text format, some other data is relational database, some data is into non-secure world. So all this how you are going to connect, right? You are going to pull, and how you can do transformation and change from one format to another format. Some data might be into CSV, some data might be into Parquet format, right? So that is what this tool is all about. And when we talk about data factory, we can create based on our need, right? If for testing purpose, we can create into development environment, pre-prod production environment, right? And we that how the security work in Azure based on IAM. All this role mechanism is present over there. We can do. We have data source, right? You can write that all this logic into that portal, which we are going to see, data factory portal. And also you can connect with your Git and Azure DevOps for integration purpose. You can create data factory and deployment portal, PowerShell, ARM, Bicep. Lot of things are integrated with this tool. So you can do all of the things from whatever normally we used to do from continuous integration, continuous deployment purpose. We can do infra as a code from Bicep, PowerShell, or ARM template. So we can do all the things, right? So what are the different components inside data factory? So if you see that one, pipeline is a component, another component is activity, data flow is another component, data sets are there, linked services, integration, runtime, and trigger. These are the main component which we talk about, right? So what is the trigger, right? uh, the trigger is that it has certain configuration in UI and property, where we can say that when this will trigger any pipeline, right? You are writing the pipeline is very top level component, where we are going to have write activity, and activity can be copy activity, activity can be transformation activity, different kind of activity. If you see this image, that one pipeline is that which is going to contain all activity, and inside activity different kind of activity you can write. You can have for each one. You can have control flow one be based on if else. If that one activity succeed, you can do another. If fails, then do another, right? We can do all of the things over there inside the pipeline. And when we have to trigger the pipeline, if we are thinking daily jobs, nightly jobs, or all this, that is going to be triggered based on trigger, and how where it is going to run and how to integrate that one. So if you want to connect with on premises, then you have to use the self hosted integration services runtimes, right? If you have the all totally cloud based, you can go with Azure integration runtime, right? So that is where integration runtimes come into picture. What are the data sets, right? Data flow is another kind of activity which we can leverage to see that how to flow working transformation and different things. We will see that there is slide we can see on that one. Data set is basically referencing that whatever source data which have in SQL, we can reference that's a table view or something. And blob storage, we can reference that this is the destination file and other things. We will see that one. Another is linked services, where what are the different services source and destination we are connecting, right? If we are connecting on-prem SQL Server or Postgre or Snowflake, or we can connect with Azure, AWS S3, or Google BigQuery, anything we can connect it. That are the linked services, which will be either sync source, or either it will be destination, or it will be compute related services also we can connect, like Databricks also we can connect. So these are the few component which we have, which we generally do for connect and collecting purpose, transformation, enrich purpose, and then publish all these things, right? Similar thing which we talked about, that pipeline is a logical grouping of all activity that performs a unit of work. So this is that thing that definition, like this is a SSIS package and other things, right? And the activity, as I told, that we can chain that one. Either it can be a sequential activity, it can be parallel activity, it can run inside loop, or it will be control based. So we can see that one little bit. Activity is single unit of work or task with you. It may be a copy activity, it may be transformation activity, it can be Azure function activity, which we will pass some code and a function will execute on that one. Or it will be machine learning, with the machine learning model can run on the top of source data which is going to come or push into somewhere. So that kind of activity is there. What are the data flow? Data flow is used generally for transformation of data, where, and this can run on Databricks and Spark environment, where we have big data, right? Big data, and we want to write something on transformation on merging purpose based on different packages. So that is the data flow is there. Dataset, as we talked about, this is a reference object for source and destination object. What are the format for input and output data? It can represent on table, view, file, folder, whatever we can say. Right. Linked services, we talked about that this is a data source or service connection object. With all this, we will pass the credential and other thing, how to connect with that one. Internally, if we select that one, which source and sync is there, they know that how to connect with Cosmos DB, MySQL, Oracle. We will see some of the things over here, that how it looks like. And then runtime, we talked about there are three type of runtime: Azure self-hosted and Azure. In case of you want to run totally into cloud, then you can go with Azure. If you have some need where you want to connect with on-prem, you can go with self-hosted. And if you have some SSIS old days code you want to lift and shift, that one it needs ADF, you can do that one also and run on that Azure SSIS integration services. And as we talked about, trigger is that when we want to execute our pipeline, it can be recurring schedule, it can be interval, it can be or event based, right? So ADF is code free ETL service, right? It does not have lot of code. We do not have to write. We can drag and drop and design that one. So if you see this flow, this diagram, that there can be ingestion, that where the ingestion is going to come, where the data is coming, what are the different flow we are going to do, right? We can utilize workflow like loop, branches, conditional to do that one. Data flow is there, and then schedule and monitor. We talked about how to monitor that one, that what is happening daily wise, where it is failing, all these things we can do. This is the visual diagram you can find into that one. And this is whole concept of this one, data integration. What are the challenges, what are the scenarios, right? We can go and see that scenarios, that what are the developed new feature you want to improve player experience, or you want to cross sell some business or drive business. How do you want to pull all the petabyte of data, right? Gaming logs, what you can do that one, right? How to connect with all these tools, right? How this it is working. So you can do all this connection and other things, and see this this feature, this image is doing all this, whatever integration services we talked about, or whatever activities we have talked about, how we are going to have monitor in our, what is the pipeline is gloom activity, right? There are three type of activities supported by ADF: data movement, transformation, or control logic. So this all these things are there, so we can go ahead and see this one, right? So now we are going to see that one, that how to create data factory and how to create pipeline and other things. And I have already created an Azure SQL and Blob, which we have some data. We are just going to create data factory and pipeline, and we will see other tools over there. So that is what I told you, that I have created already a SQL server where we have some data, which if you go and see this one, this is our data, movie table are there, and we have movie related information in our SQL source, Azure SQL source. We have one storage account where we do not have any container and other things. I can create a quickly container for that one, so that we can see quickly. Okay, let me now go ahead and create an ADF, right? So if we search with the data factory, Azure Data Factory should become, so that is different. Data flow factory analysis is different one. So let's see. Okay, why it is not coming here? So let's see in that integration tool, right? We talked about this is the data factory is there. So this is the data factory where we can go ahead and say, let me select my subscription, and then as usual we have to select subscription, we have to select that resource group. Now I'm going to give that name for this, and which region. So let me see, and region is important, which I can tell you later on that one. What is, I do not I will say that config it later, I will do later on that one. Okay, so our validation is passed. Let me create this one quickly. It will take few minutes. Okay, it was very quick. So let me, when you go to data factory, this is what it looks like, right? We have resource group name, which location is this one, which subscription, and there is a data factory studio, which is completely different UI. If you click on that one, it will take you to different UI. Okay, and this is what where we can go to ingest, orchestrate, transform data, configure SSIS. We have an option where we can set code repository, which if you see this one, which type of repository we want to set up and other things. Let me go and quickly see that one. There are four tabs, right? This is home tab, where some of the information we can find with template and other things. There are authoring, where we are going to create our ADF. These are the pipeline where we can create a data set. We talked about data flow and Power Query. This is the section where we are going to monitor that all the pipeline and trigger runs. We will see something later. And here we have management section, where we can have link services and other things for connection purpose, right? So let's go and create the very first link services. So what I'm going to create, right? I have link services, which I talked about, that when there are 100 plus sources. You can connect from Amazon S3, you can connect from Amazon Redshift and pull the data to Azure, or push the data to these sources, right? So first thing I'm going to do, that I have Azure SQL connect created, right? I told you that we have Azure SQL I created for this one. So Azure SQL database I have, and because this is Azure services, I can go with now auto resolve runtime, which is Azure runtime, and I am going with connection string, and I am going to enter manually. We should go with Azure Key Vault. We should not put all the details over here in password and other things, because we can see generally all the things should go from Key Vault for security purpose. Let me see that I have this server here, right? I have this server details here. So server details and database details, let me see this one, and I can put this details over here. This is my database, and what is my database name is that one. This is my database name, right? And my username is this one. So I can go with SQL authentication. Generally we used to have this kind of security, not SQL authentication, and all this is from Key Vault. But for demo purpose, I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to and this always encrypt we have to mark, but right now I'm not doing that one. So yeah, so our first connection is link service is ready. Let me connect this another one, and it will be for Azure. Let me, sorry, this was that we are creating blob one. Right, I'm creating the blob storage one, and then I'm going to see this one, because I have that one, right? And this is the account name I have, and let me pull that account key information, right? Let me show and pull that key information. I should have put into Key Vault, but let's see. This connection is also successful, and this is here. So we have two linked connection. Let me go ahead and create the pipeline. I can go ahead and do that pipeline. And what I'm going to do in this pipeline, right, I have a lot of activity, right? You can see that move copy data flow activity is there. And I told that I'm not going to use the data factory because we have to connect all this setting where our code are there and different things are there where it is going to run this data flow and other things. And if you go in details, that we have to go a lot of things, so I will do demo later on that data flow activity. But you can have Azure function, Databricks you can connect, right? Notebook in jar we can connect a lot of details. You can have iteration filter each logic, and machine learning we can connect. We will see some of the things later. But yeah, going to use this copy data activity for now, right? So if we have to copy data, what is the different thing we have to set up for copying purpose? So we have to set up the source, right? And what could be source? So source data set, right? So I need to create one data set. And what is our source? Our source is Azure SQL, right? Azure SQL database. And what link services? We have created link services, and this link services is coming here. Now it is going to connect using that whatever connection information we have provided for table and pulling out, right? That as we talked about, what are the different things over there. So I'm going to see that one. We can put whatever we want to put movies, as because we have seen in here that movies are there, so we can see that movies, and we can say okay. Now what is the sync? Now we see that source data set is there, we know the activity, we know the pipeline, we know that all the things, right? And now what is the sync? Sync can be SQL, from one SQL to this SQL only, but as we talked about that we are going to create a blob sync, right? We are going blob, and blob which file format we are going to put. So I'm going to right now put into text format itself, right? So text format I'm going to put. And what are the link services we have created for blob, right? And what are the container which we are going to put into that one? So let me go ahead and see that in which container we have created for that. We have created that container name is this one, so I'm going to put that one. And what folder we can keep, any folder or top level folder we can create anything, right? So let me see that one, what we can do here. Let's put into test and movie data. Okay, movie.csv. Let's try. Okay, we can go ahead and then see what happens. And the schema will be none. Okay, schema will be none. So now we have set up that one, so we can do and change that one, copy movie data, whatever we want to say that. Okay, we can go ahead and change this one, and whatever pipeline in their name we can do proper wise, right? My proper, oh sorry, my first pipeline, okay, whatever we can do that. And then we have to make that, we have to do publish thing that to okay, so publishing is completed. Now if we go and how to trigger this one, we can do trigger now, and it will run for testing purpose, we can do right away, right? We can go ahead and debug this one, and it will be running into debug mode. If you see this one, it is going to run into debug mode. It is queued right now. So if you see this one, let it is in progress, and it will succeeded meant it should copy the data, right? It should copy the data. If you see this one, and all the details, what is the input and output details, and if you see this one, that data has been copied from this place to this place, right? Let's go ahead and see this one. We can see the test folder, we can see the data here, right? We can see some of the data which we should be able to see. Let me delete this one quickly. And okay, now we can add trigger. We have to talk like trigger, right? We can go ahead and say that which trigger. We have not created any trigger. We can go ahead and trigger daily trigger or weekly trigger, whatever trigger you want to trigger. What time, what is the recurrence, minute, hours, day, event, everything, or a starting creation. So every 15 minute we can have, or every 15 month, or every day we can have, right? Every 15 days we can have what is the start timing and what is the end timing. All this we can have, right? Every 1 hour we can do, right? Anything we can have a specify in date also, where I'm going to say that okay 49, it is going to end on that one. It will stop automatically for that, right? So we can go ahead and so we have to attach here, right? It is now attached here to pipeline. Now let's push it here. Now you see that if you go into minus section, we have two link services. Integration services we have Azure integrated. If you want to create that Azure SSIS and Azure self-hosted one, you have to download something to connect into on-premise network and other things. Right now everything is running into by default Azure runtime one. We can connect Azure Purview, that is different thing. We can have a repository configured, we can have ARM configured, all this thing. Right now we just created daily trigger, so we can see, we can modify all these things. We can do whatever security purpose, we can store everything into key vault and other things that we can do right away. So this is what, if you can want to trigger right now, you can do it from here, you can do it from there, and it will be at given time it will run. And for monitoring purpose, if you go into debug, it was debug, so we had run one debug run, so we can see that debug run is there, and we can go and see that more details about that one. As similar to that, we have seen this one, that all the details we can see based on here, that what is the peak time, what is the which IR it was running, integration runtime, what is the source sync, and all the details. And we can trigger once again, and we can see it. Do not wait for triggering, right? And we can go and see the trigger, because this was not debug, this was a trigger based on that one. Manual trigger we did, but when it is going to schedule trigger, which we have created, it is going to see that schedule trigger, right? So it is going to create that one. It already succeeded. We can go and quickly see that data is coming. And this is what I wanted to show you for demo. Yeah, this is very basic demo. I will create some more demo about pulling data from Google or Amazon, or pushing into that Snowflake. All these things we can do, or integrating with machine learning services. We will see that one. Thank you very much, guys. Hope you guys like this one.